Hi everyone, and welcome to the Recruitment Strategies webinar, which is hosted by the Commission on Accreditation for Home Care. My name is Cindy Andrake, and I am the Education Coordinator here at CAC. If you attended yesterday's webinar, welcome back. If you're new today, welcome. We're glad that you could join us. Before I introduce you to our speaker, there are a couple of housekeeping items I want to review. In order to prevent any background noise, all participants will be in the listen-only mode during the presentation. If you have a question to ask or a comment to make, please submit them via the question box, which you can find in the control panel located on the right side of your screen. We'll leave time at the end of the presentation to answer questions. If the control panel is preventing you from seeing the presentation slides, you can minimize it by clicking the small orange arrow at the top left of the control panel. If you want to restore the control panel to the original size, just click on the arrow again. If you should have any audio issues during the webinar, you can switch to your phone to listen. The dial-in phone-in number and the access code can be found in the audio box located in the control panel. Finally, today's presentation will be recorded and will be uploaded to the CAC website. Please check back on the website in the next week or two to hear a replay. And now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our speaker today. Mev Markashi is a registered nurse, clinical operations consultant, and certified healthcare financial professional with 15 years of broad educational experience, leading teams in healthcare organizations through process improvements, audits, compliance, and procedure development services. In her career, she's held various positions as a director of clinical operations in certified home healthcare agencies, as a regional director of patient services, and as a regional vice president of operations in a licensed home care service agency. She's driven to meet and exceed goals in productivity, clinical outcomes, and staff performance. So thanks, Mev, for joining us today. At this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to you.
Thank you, Cindy. And yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today. I know we are all, this is one topic, and it's a hot one, recruitment. So we're going to focus on some different strategy plans that you can all hopefully, bring into your companies. We're all feeling the challenges here. Quite a few industries are hurting, not only healthcare, retail, hospitality. Recruitment has never been easy, but it's definitely a lot more difficult than it was. I heard the word caregiver battle. It's a caregiver battle, and it's going to come down to who wins this battle. And we're going to come up with some ways, we're going to talk about some ways that can really differentiate you from some of the other companies out there, and how you can redesign what you're currently doing. It's not going to be one magical sentence that I'm going to be able to provide to you. It's going to be hard work, dedication. You get to be really creative at this time, but most importantly, just staying persistent in what it is that would work best for your companies. Looking at the 2021 home care benchmarking study, this was done by Home Care Pulse. You can all read the bullets, but look at that third one. 57% of caregiver turnover happens in the first 90 days of employment. So yes, recruitment, but I think a lot of the challenges are retaining our caregivers. A lot of them work for more than one company. They're committed to the hours that they have in one place. So what role, though, looking within ourselves, for those of you who heard this presentation yesterday, you're going to see a lot of things really kind of weave together here. But again, it's a time for us to look within our, our own companies as to where did maybe we play a role in this? Did we give them the proper orientation? Did we put them on that case and never ask what happened in there? Was there a care plan in the home? A few things for us to really kind of tighten our processes on. What made it worse for us was this current pandemic that started last year. The unemployment benefits have lifted, but I'm still not really seeing, as I'm sure you all are not, all of them running back to us either. During that time, some companies immediately went into online training or assisting in their onboarding. Some did not. And now we have the vaccine mandate. I want to bring up this program again because I did bring it up yesterday, but for some it's reinforcement, and for others it is new. Hearing it for the first time. It's the Flex for Checks program. There is the website, www.flexforchecks.com. It is a community-based program. It was developed as part of a $11.1 million grant from Health Resources and Services Administration. And it was seeking to mobilize home care workers to increase vaccination confidence. A vaccinated individual will earn $50. Referring a home care worker is $25, and the agency earns $25. The program started on June 1st, and it's going until November 30th, or until all funding is exhausted, if it is prior to that. So if you haven't, get on that website. It's a quick registration form, and it's a way to also set up some education to continue to provide some confidence regarding the vaccine hesitancy that we're having at this time. Our competition has increased their pay rates with the caregivers. Not everybody is in a position to increase their pay rates, and I'm well aware of that. But even where we saw pay rates go up, eventually the others did the same, and now we're anteing up and going up to benefits. And it's a market that not all of us can go up to that level, but it doesn't mean you're out of the game yet. I really don't believe anybody is out of this game. We all have ways to attract some very good caregivers that are out there who are really just looking to come into the right culture that is most suitable for them. When you look at your competitors, find differentiators. If you can, increase your prices. After knowing what your competitors are charging, you can charge 10 to 20%. And to incentivize to keep them there and retain them, you can let them know that they will earn a bonus after 6 months. And if you keep paying this bonus, it is a way of incentivizing employees to look into your company. Before you do this, though, please run your numbers, look at your profit margins. They're important to know. Once you have an idea of what your costs are versus your revenue, it gives you the opportunity to cut where you need or streamline something else, or just reinvest. And there is a lot of room to reinvest in your own companies today. Across the board, and again, a lot of this information, I've done a lot of the homework for all of you, whether professionally, whether through speaking through industry leaders. This is as accurate, as up to date as we possibly can be, and it is a wage war kind of going on out there. As I keep saying, nothing has to be about cost. So as much as we're focusing on our caregivers, let's not forget about our office staff. I also have been very actively working in the offices during this time, and staff is tired. They are exhausted. It's been rough to get through this time. But I want to share something with you just to let you know that it's not just cost. We were trying to incentivize the staff to work on the billing and really bring it down. True story, I was standing right there. They were offered $1,000 to get that billing down and bring our accounts receivable up. I truly thought everybody would move on it. Came in the next day, looked at the report, came down. Not where we needed it to be, but it came down somewhat. And I spoke to one of the office staff. I said, why? why did you all not move on this? I mean, me personally, I would have probably stayed there until midnight to get that $1,000. And they just looked at me and they said, you know, it's not about the money. It's just merely impossible for us to get past the amount of duties that we're doing right now. Some of this could have actually been corrected with integrating a couple of systems, but it was really a lesson to me that even though that incentive was not there, it was a time that our office staff needed a lot more support, because this office staff is overseeing the caregivers on the field. So we also need to keep them in mind and give them some tools. When we don't invest, and again, you have to look within your margins to see where you can go with this, but what outcomes do we see when we don't invest in our caregivers? They're our eyes, they're our ears. We see a decrease in revenue. We see an increase in client complaints, and we may lose clients because of it. Keep in mind with this though, as you notice how there is that caregiver loss, but there's that client loss, they run hand in hand with each other. You know, happy caregivers make for happy clients. We don't want them walking into homes unhappy. The clinical part of it, I've seen this. We're seeing falls, increase in hospitalizations. It's more of a reason for us to focus on our frontline workers and really take the time to design a good plan and attract them into our company. The operational outcomes. Look at your reports, make some decisions on where you're going with your caregivers as to what area you want to recruit. And again, look at your current patient census. And I'm going to bring up an example that I saw. I did an OT run and I noticed that 55 to 60% of the overtime was coming out of live-in. It was the live-in cases. Why? They weren't able to staff the live-in. So they were staffing it with a 2x12. And I think you will know there that that was a complete loss of profit. But understanding this allowed us to look at pivoting and saying, you know what, we're going to have to probably do something different in our recruitment and target some other areas. So take a look at these reports. So here we are. What is everybody saying? What do they want? Well, yeah, they want pay, but they also want the thank you. They want the office to provide better customer services. Within us, were we getting enough hours for them? The amount of hours that they were provided, did it warrant maybe that we made the caregiver a full-time employee? Did we have them traveling too much from area to area? Did we compensate them for that travel? Things to look at. Look at how what our caregivers are saying versus what our home care clients are saying. And again, this is very up-to-date information, but having been in home care for over 15 years, you know, I'm hearing some of the same things, which says to me that we really have not addressed some of the issues that go on in our clients' homes. But when they bring up poor screening process, I think for us as a home care agency, it is a time to really sit down and actually interview our caregivers, see where their skills come from, and at that time make a good match with the proper clients. I'll let you all read this for a moment, but that last bullet is very important. The office staff failing to communicate consistently when there is a change in staffing. This frustrates both our clients and our caregivers. I personally find clients are much more forgiving when we just let them know, hey, the aide is going to be late, or the caregiver is not going to be able to be there. Would you like a replacement? You know, sometimes the family can set up other backup resources, but please stay in close contact with both our clients as well as the caregivers. When we look to put this plan together, I really feel that it needs to be multi-channel, some in-house, some of it offline. This current pandemic has gotten people a little used to being able to do things online. Not everybody's children are back in school right now, so they're relying on our ability to give them some type of in-service training via online programs. But take a look, prioritize, and figure out a number. Allocate a portion so you can advertise. Well, every office will have different trends. There will always be something that is more specific to one office versus another. You choose, you decide. If you're hearing a certain complaint over and over, then start there and do one at a time. I like to start with the onboarding process. Take a look at this. I mean, if any of you out there have worked for other companies, I know I have. And when they made it easier for me where I can upload a document, that made me feel really, I had more of a positive outlook as to where I was going, because it said to me, okay, well, their processes are in place, but take a look at some of the things you can do with your onboarding. Screen your applicants, interview them. Maybe you can get an applicant tracking system in place. Here you'll be able to post jobs, manage your applicants. It's all on one platform. But the best thing about it is that it gives you time. It gives you more time to focus on the recruitment and the process as a whole. This is, for those of you that were on yesterday, I spoke about a job aid, and this will be very different for all companies. The front-end onboarding, again, whether you have, depends on how many people you have in your office and what the responsibilities are for each, but it should include something like this. One is the screening, right? And the processing. Put it on a tracker. I use a simple Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have the ATS or any type of program and it's not something you can invest in, do an Excel spreadsheet. Really track where your applicants are in the process. It allows you to identify trends on a month-to-month basis. When they come in, your applicant, let them know what you have to offer. Let them know that, you know what, I have an on-site MD. Looks like you just need your PPD requirement. We can do that here. We do this every Thursday. Create a projected orientation schedule. I see a lot of like impromptu ones being done. The applicant walks in, and I've done it. I admit it. I got pulled from one area. They needed that caregiver. Can you do this orientation really quick? Sure, we did it. We put them on. But you know what? I don't know how well that's going to work out for long-term retainment, but we all do it. We've done it. We switched it around and we just projected a monthly schedule 2 times a week. I like the 2 times a week. It gives them the ability to pick a day, and they know from the beginning what days your orientation is going to be offered. This part's really important, and you're going to see how this starts to flow into some of the great programs you're going to start to attract our caregivers. Look at your orientation. Are we reviewing the company policies with our caregivers? Are we reviewing what documentation we need? Dealing with hostile clients, and what support are we giving them? Who should they contact when there's a problem? Not just focusing on like what our state requirements are, but really identifying what it is that they need to know during orientation. So look at your orientations, the in-services that you're providing. Maybe, not maybe, I think there's room to, really fine tune some of them. Caregivers, they're not only the lifeline of our clients, but they are really the lifeline of our agencies. When we spoke about marketing yesterday, and I discussed picking a specialized market that you probably may want to focus on. And again, let's just use dementia. Well, if you're going to do that, you got to train your aides. This is an opportunity for you to create a specialty. So really looking at some of the in-services you already have and maybe just adding a little bit more detail to it. There's definitely a market out there. I do in-services, and I like to explain, to educate on what a stroke is, cerebral vascular accident. What is a stroke? How does it happen? They want to learn, they want to understand what is going on with these patients. So really look at some of these topics and provide a little bit more detail. As you're setting up your plan, you do a census run, look at your patients, how many you have active. I say active because if you're holding discharged patients, they're not driving revenue. You're out of compliance clinically. So clean that up, get an accurate number, and then set up a plan for the number of caregivers you need. And it's usually a ratio of 2 to 3 caregivers for every client. Keep all of your departments up to date. I like to do rounds in the morning. It gives me the opportunity to see where everybody is. I first go in to see where is that applicant, bring up the Excel spreadsheet. I look at it, where are they with it? What are they missing? Bring that information back to your schedulers. Let them know you are working on it. Let them know what they feel a little better when they know that, it's only one more item we're waiting on, or it's really bringing your departments together. And sometimes just that little quick 10-minute round speaking to each employee can really set the tone for the day. When you're setting up your plan, run a report on your inactive caregivers. Go back 4, 5, 6 months and call them. I did this for a company when I think I must have made 60, 70, 80 phone calls. Some of them didn't pick up. Some of them I had to leave a message. They never called back. Some of them moved out of state. Out of that, we did recruit 5 of them back. I'll take 5. You know what? 1, 2 days of phone calls. If I can bring in 5 recruiters, 5 caregivers that I lost somewhere in these past few months, I thought it was worth it. But then I heard, I'd say a good 10 of them said the same thing to me. I told them I was available, but they didn't call me for work. That's where we start to lose our caregivers, because if we don't have the work, somebody else is more than happy to put them on a case. I think we need to look at times like this where can we bring them into the office to do something? You're filing, faxing orders, making some phone calls, even if you give them a few hours during the week and they have the potential to maybe fill a 12-hour day case for you, I think it'd be worth it just to keep them a little warm and close to your company. The running the parallel, because I brought up a lot of marketing and I forgot to mention something yesterday. The parallel again with recruiting for caregivers and marketing for clients. Run a discharge report on your clients. I did this a few months ago and it was interesting because as much as we think they were properly discharged, they may have went to a long-term care facility, run a report on it, discharge who's legit, but really look to see where these clients are. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. There may be a few of them out there who initially said, you know what, I just don't want services during this time. They were concerned about the COVID exposure, understandably. But run a discharge, go back, look at it, give a call, put it into your business development plan, or your coordinator, your scheduler who may have a close relationship with them. Make a few calls. Try and bring back the ones that you've lost. Looking at the benefits, expanding the spectrum of your benefits can create a huge shift for you in your long-term operations. It would help increase productivity. I think it would definitely have an impact on turnover and retention. Your company would have a much better outward appearance if you're able to provide some of these benefits. This is the rewards and recognition. To me, this is a time for you to get creative. Have fun with it. Team building activities, a referral program. Not everybody has it. If a caregiver refers another caregiver where there is some type of reward given to them. Starbucks cards and Amazon cards go a long way with people. I don't know why, but you give somebody a Starbucks card and you've made their week. They're not high in cost, these items. Donate to their favorite charity. Local discounts you can look into. So these are little items that you can use to let your caregivers know that you can offer to them. You let them know this on the day of orientation, or you market some of this on your websites. It's intriguing. People want to hear more. But if you let them know from day one that you may offer these things, I think it definitely can decrease the potential for them to walk away from you within the first 90 days. A couple more things. And again, this list can go on for long pages. We're kind of picking some different things that I have seen work in the past. Company outing the parks. I used to go to international outings and it was fun. Everybody brought a meal from their country of origin. It doesn't cost you much aside from maybe like a park and getting a few things, some drinks. But the employees brought in the food and I personally loved it and I had a great time. We would do things like this and I think we got away from it. Creating a VIP group, what does this mean? This means that you have 20 home health aides that you have trained. They are specialized training in dementia. They're part of your VIP group. Get them business cards. They don't cost a lot. You go over to Staples, there's a few of them. It's not a high cost, but it'll attract applicants and really everybody wants to belong to some type of group, whether you want to acknowledge them as employee or caregiver of the month. But as you're doing this and you're coming up with these ideas, please don't forget your social media accounts. Put them up there. Your future clients are looking. And people do like to see that employees are treated well. So it's a win-win on both ends. You can market and use this for recruitment. Career path for our caregivers. Differentiating yourself again from others. Have you thought maybe about a weekend program? New caregivers will work every other weekend, every weekend, traveling position, but really making it known that that's what it is. So setting some type of pathway for your caregivers to develop more so in your company. And the next few slides, I did a 3-level career path. This does not have to cost you a lot. Really, you can do 3, you can do 4, you can do 5 levels, whatever works for you. But take a look at this for a moment. What if we were advertising something like this? Career path for all caregivers, you know, inquire within, scholarships being given. I know what you're thinking, but the money is out there. The money is out there. We just got to know where to look. So level 1, if your caregiver has submitted all of their onboarding requirements within 7 to 10 days, okay. And you know, we do have issues with collecting that. They've attended the first scheduled orientation that you provided. They accepted a case within the first week. They remained working 20 to 30 hours for the first 90 days. Award them. And we went over quite a few different things that you could use as an award. I know that if I'm working for 2 or 3 companies and I can be rewarded for just staying with you for 20 to 30 hours for those 90 days, well, that may just make the difference between me staying on your case versus someone else's. Well, now we're going to go into level 2. We want to keep them. This I drove more towards keeping a caregiver, retaining them for at least 6 months. And of course, we look to get something out of it. And on level 2, they've met your level 1 already, but then in level 2, they have provided 3 to 5 employee referrals. That EVV, I know, is a big problem. I'd love to see 100%, but let's be realistic. I know it's still not happening. But if they're clock in and clock out, again, we can get them up there at 85% for 6 months. They're submitting their timesheets. Now they're working a little bit more hours with us. They're going up to 30, 40 for 6 months. And they have been chosen or have volunteered to be part of your VIP group. The dementia trained, the multiple sclerosis trained group, bonus them after the 6 months. Again, whether you choose to do monetary or you want to donate something. This is a good 6-month plan. Level 3, I don't know if you really want to go to level 4 and 5. This is if you want to stretch out the time period, but remember your key days are 90 days and 6 months. Those are the most crucial time periods that you can lose staff. So keep those 2 timelines in mind. Level 3, they've met all of level 2 requirements. And you see that skill in them. They're reporting changes in the clients. They're maintaining communication. And maybe this is the caregiver that you want to promote to a full-time 40-hour week. Or you want to provide some type of scholarship or educational fund to. Just this past week, I saw that the National Association for Home Care and Hospice was offering $10,000 in scholarships. All the companies had to do was nominate their top caregiver. It's out there. Unfortunately, I think it ended last week, but if they're not giving, they're probably going to do it again. If it's not them, some other company. So the money is there, and there it was. You know, 10K. That's a lot of money to be given out. So we look at the career ladders, enticing, things for them to look forward to. Another program you may want to look into is creating a caregiver mentor program. This could assist in overcoming a lot of challenges that our caregivers have on the field. And what you're doing here is, let's go back to that caregiver that you promoted to 40 hours. They've already shown you for the past year that they can meet these requirements. They have showed loyalty. This is a good candidate to put into this program as the senior caregiver that's going to assist your new oncoming caregivers. A good number to keep in mind, I would do like a 5-to-1, 5 caregivers to 1 of your mentors. And you would train them. And it doesn't have to be, again, you don't have to really reinvent the wheel. You have a lot of these in-services in place. Just really fine tune them, but use what you have. And maybe like an 8-hour training. And during the time that they're mentoring, $2 more an hour. They're not doing it all the time, but as new employees come on and they're bringing them along and they can call them with certain concerns that they may have, or you can do a preceptor where a new caregiver would shadow another caregiver. It's you can get very, very creative here, and these are low-cost items that are just going to take some time and a lot of creativity to have fun with it, really. With recruitment, these are very known obstacles, and again, it's not unique to one company over the other, but keep it in mind. You've set up this plan, you've got this mentor program in place, this career ladder in place. You've already set the incentive in place now. You know, number 3, the length of time before application is processed, but you've incentivized them. Your recruitment, we're going to look at separately because sometimes we are not meeting the demands. But if we set up a target plan, and I'm going to go over that in the next slide or two, but I'm really optimistic that a lot of these programs can make these obstacles kind of not that big as they used to be. Look, we've incentivized orientation. We already have told them that in 90 days, we're going to award you for taking a case. I did an orientation. I'm sure you're all seeing this. Must have been 6, 7, 8 caregivers. Not one took a case that day after. And I'm sure you're all feeling that pain. They were already working for someone else. They all are. Everybody is kind of, you know, they're shopping around. They're looking to see where is the best place for them to be. So really take a look into some of these programs. Implementing this, how do we go about in setting this all up, right? You got all this information. Open houses. You can advertise it on social media, your website. If your offices are not located in an area, I know I've seen quite a few offices where your caregivers don't want to come there because there's no bus lines or they're not driving. It's very difficult for them to get to. Do an offsite recruiting. Go offsite. You can do a library. You can use community centers, the Y, JCC. You can use these places, and they're located in a lot of different townships where there's quite a few traffic. So if you can't get them into your offices, try going offsite. The hiring requirements, number 3, and I've done this myself, we put advertising on and we don't put the specificities of what we need. Bilingual, if you need a bilingual, please make sure it sounds basic, but please make sure you identify it because you'll start getting the ones that aren't really meeting the operational demands. A couple of other solutions, though, as I said in the beginning, a lot of different industries struggling right now. Hospitality, retail, and food service. I got a call last week. It was random. She saw me online. She was working for a catering company and was no longer happy and was looking to get her caregiver's license. We need to start going out there and putting up flyers in areas where there is high retail and hospitality, put them outside the malls. You know, buildings, I mean, they don't like it. The worst they can do, they'll take it down if they don't want it there. But there is a lot of people who are looking to come out of these industries. This one in particular, she said she was a CNA in the past, and now she just wants to come back to it. So looking at all of the other industries would definitely be beneficial. Let's look at number 2. This is where I really want to focus with the recruitment. Some offices may not have a field recruiter. If you don't have a field recruiter, it is even some more important to really focus on your technology, whether it's your website, your social media account, and putting some of this information out there. If you do have a recruiter, design a plan, establish your targets. If it's a home health aide training school, there's a lot of competition in those schools. I know there's companies that have seats in there and they've already occupied the area, but in our industry, we're driven by relationships that we build within our business. So when you set up a plan for your recruiter and you do a search within the area, put it on, again, if you don't have the means to go into certain softwares or anything, an Excel spreadsheet, send them out and just probe and find out what is going on and who is the person that is making the key decisions in these areas. I brought it up briefly yesterday. I had a recruiter. He knew the owners of many, many training schools. He wasn't really getting far with them. So we set up, again, a strategic targeting plan. These are the schools, these are the areas that we want to target, because you want to monitor it to see what actually you're getting out of it. He came in one day and he was giddy, and it made me laugh because he said, I just got 7 applications. I said, how'd you do that? I asked the nurse. The nurse that was doing the training was the one who was making the decisions. It wasn't the owner, it wasn't anybody. And it was as simple as, and not that this is simple, but he had that relationship there. He just said to her, could you help me out? I'm trying to target this one area and I just don't have the right applicants. She said, sure. It takes time. And I think sometimes we think, you know, we went in there once, we went in there twice, I didn't get anything out of it, and we give up. Don't give up. Go back. Stay persistent. Ask one question that first time. Which days this month are you having a training program? And when they tell you, would it be okay if I bring some donuts and coffee on that day? I highly doubt they'll say no to you. Come in, bring in your marketing material, come back the following week, say hello again. Let them know how you're training the caregivers that you're hiring. But stay persistent, give it time. I know we all want the results like yesterday, but just give it time. Ask for the business once you have established that rapport with them. Keeping your caregivers active when you
Mav, you've broken up a little bit on your sound.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good now.
All right, I'm sorry, everyone. I saw the little window come up that I lost audio. Okay, have them call. Have them do the calls for you. Nothing says that they can't call and ask a few questions to your clientele. Keep them busy. Keep them busy until you can place them there. Office time, file, fax orders. You can even take your 30-day contact and tweak it a bit. Use it to collect information from your caregivers. Give it to them on the day of orientation. You may want to ask them things like, what aspects have you enjoyed in your previous employments? What aspects did you least enjoy in your previous cases? You know, collect that information. whether you give it to them during orientation, during in-service, it's a good tool to continuously understand where your staff is. Social media, I have firsthand, it just, I thought this whole social media thing was just going to go away eventually. It's not. It's just here to stay. I see applicants walk in, they're holding their phones. They're holding their phones on their hand. They're not even interested in anything, but they have it here. They will point out to what they're seeing on social media. They're asking us, can I do this online? This is where we are with technology. So staying on top of this is very important. As I said, I've done the research for you. Facebook and Instagram seem to be your two hottest platforms for this. And I'm going to get a little bit more into it, but Canva. I don't know if you're all familiar with this site. It's really user friendly, but the best thing that I like about it, I can get a lot of free material from here. And even the ones that do cost, they don't cost a lot. But whether you want postcards or flyers or some type of brochures, or they're customized to fit the social media design. This is a great website. If you haven't seen it, definitely take a look. A lot of free material on here, and they're not, the ones you pay for really do not cost much. Instagram, just keep in mind, this is what you can do here is really reflect your home care's, your agency's culture, its mission. It's a time for you to really tell your story here. If you're going to put pictures, if you're doing some type of in-service, just please keep in mind, make sure you get permission before you post pictures of anybody on any of these websites. Same thing with Facebook, but make sure you're active on it. Sometimes I see these accounts and it looks like nobody is posting anything, and it makes me wonder, are they even working at this time, or is this still active? So stay on top of it, post regularly, because the more you post on these things, the more the search engines sort of start to see that activity, so you pop up on different searches as well. With Google particularly, ask your caregivers, ask your clients. When you know they're satisfied with something, ask them to write a review on Google for you. It drives the search. People see it. People are looking. Everybody is attracted to this. I'm sure most of you do have websites. To optimize the search engine, I said just those keywords, stay active. Look at your inactive caregiver list. Look at your discharged patient list. Do some email marketing. Send material. Let them know what programs you have, what discounts you're giving, what rewards you're giving. I brought this up yesterday briefly, and the same for today, but these enterprise solutions really make the onboarding process and the training a lot easier. I'll repeat what I said yesterday. I do not have any interest in any of these companies. I have either worked, I have seen them, and I have even seen their demos. They're very well done. If you're currently fully automated, it's working for you, it's great. If not, give a call. Or, if you're don't want to call, if you get on LinkedIn and follow them, they're putting out a lot of good material that will really help you stay up to date on things. But this really helps with the back end work as well. And there's CellTrack, there's Showed Me, there's a lot of different companies out there. So things to look at to bring all these different, really, the moving pieces when it comes to not just the operation, but all of this is really impacting the recruitment as well. They all weave into each other. We see billing or your payroll, how it's set up. How many times have you had this happen? You've given a caregiver an extra $1 or $2 to take a case. Somewhere in translation, it got lost. Payroll didn't know. They're calling, I didn't get paid. I've heard caregivers say to me, I'm not doing it again. So, when we look at the integration of the different facets of our business, the goal is to streamline it, and really the end result is to provide quality care to our clients and really enhance and retain the staff that we have. We're coming to the end of this right now, but we are a people-driven business. When you set up your plan, whether operationally or your recruitment plan, marketing, there's always that one component that we cannot measure, and that's the human component to it. So communicating, training, looking in your culture to see what it is that you can enhance better and bring this relationship into play. Really, it's a great time right now to consider all the different pieces and set up a great plan. We're in the middle of October right now. We're going to have the holidays coming. We tend to see maybe a little recruitment kind of slow down, but it's a new year coming up. So definitely take some time, put a great plan in place, and I really do hope that you've all found the information that I provided to you of a help. And good luck. Good luck, and I wish you all much success. Good luck.
Thanks, Mev. Great job. We do have a few questions that came in throughout the presentation, so we'll just take a few minutes here to get to as many as we can. And if we don't get to them all, then we'll make sure that your questions are answered. So one of them was when you were talking about the career levels. What's the best way to track where caregivers are on this path? Any suggestions?
To track where they are, yeah. You know what? When I was designing that, I did think as to where it is. I don't know the specificities of who is asking as far as what you have, but if you're using a certain platform, like I know Exchange will allow you to add a certain column on there that you can measure it. So I would look at your platforms to see if you can just add a certain drop down to see. And if not, I'm big on Excel spreadsheets. I really am. If you don't have the platform that can run this and you can just do a quick run on a drop down, make your columns, do a career 1 folder, a career level 2 folder, a career level 3 folder. Make some columns and what it is that you want them to achieve and put the person's name to the left. And then just stay on top of it as they complete those tasks.
Okay, great, thank you. We have another question. How do you handle applicants not interested in a 30 to 40 hour work week because they have to work minimal hours in order to receive their Medicaid benefits?
Yeah, I knew exactly where that question was going. It is, maybe it's not the answer you want to hear, but in order for them to continue to get their Medicaid, that's where they have to stay. As far as moving them beyond that, I just think that that's going to be your caregiver. That's all they're going to be able to offer you. You're not going to have them come off of their Medicaid levels. So I would find the right fit for them. And even then, I've seen them kind of say, well, I'll do 8 to 10. And I know I don't have a case from 8 to 10, but unfortunately, if that's all they can give, that's all they can give you. But find that client, at least that you can make that work for.
Okay. Would you pay the new hire and the mentor a fee for training?
The mentor, yeah, because we are considering, we're taking into consideration this is your employee, right? So I would pay them during the time only that they're mentoring an extra $2, not when they're on a case. Keep their base the way it is, but on the times that they are mentoring, absolutely, I would pay them the extra 2 hours because that's the incentive.
Okay. This is not really a question, it's more of a comment. Yesterday you mentioned hospitals are starting to have in-house home health. I'm very interested in the concept. Any comment on that?
I don't want to talk about specifically any names, but obviously the in-house home care agencies were having some of the same struggles that the out of house were having. So it's just an opportunity to see where the hospitals are and who they're utilizing as their go-to home care agency.
Okay. Let me see. There was another, which is again just more of a comment that cases don't want orientation. They think they can apply, get paid, and then just start. The most we see is applicants is wherever they're presently work. They do not know about the in-service requirements prior to starting work, and they feel it's not worth it. Any comments on that?
I don't know where these applicants are coming from. Yeah. The requirements are requirements. So this is the advice that I would give. Sometimes you got to know when to cut your losses also. I have seen companies chase and chase and chase an applicant. They're not giving in the required documents. They're not showing up to orientation. They're not doing anything that you're asking them to do. What makes you think that they're going to take a case for you and actually make your lives easier? Sometimes I have found that if I got to chase somebody down that much, it's not worth it. They're not going to be beneficial to my company. As far as anybody who thinks they can go on a case without anything, I'd be curious to see where they got that information from, but I'd stick to your guns as I always do and let them know that as per regulation, state regulation, these are the requirements. And this is an expectation, and then sell them. Go right into, let me tell you a little bit about what I have to offer you once you complete these requirements.
Okay, thank you. Last comment or question, how do you handle companion case that a family wants to keep if the client care level increases to a CHHA?
Say that one more time, Cindy.
How do you handle a companion case that a family wants to keep if the client care level is increasing to a certified home health aide?
Okay. I'm assuming that the companion is not certified as a home health aide. They cannot provide personal care. As far as handling it, a companion is a companion. They cannot provide personal care. If the acuity of the patient has changed and they want to remain keeping that aide, offer to pay for them to be certified. If it means you keeping that case and keeping revenue going, then certify your employee.
There's a follow-up to that, and that the family only wants a companion.
Okay, so they only want a companion, but they need personal care. Well, then it's not, okay. They need personal care, but they only want a companion. I would, again, this is hard to kind of take through. If they need the personal care, they probably just want to pay for the companion. That's what I'm getting from it. I always, and I have found it very successful when I am truthful and honest with family. And I explain to them, let me tell you the role that we abide by within the state of New Jersey. This is the ability that the companion can do. If anything more than that, it falls into a different category, and just keep reiterating it and let them know that you are following a regulation. And they sometimes think it's you just giving them a hard time. So sometimes you kind of just got to let them know that this is something that is a requirement. they'll get it. If you say it enough times, they start to come around.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mev. We've gone through everything. I just want to remind everyone about the Return and Earn program that I mentioned yesterday. We'll be sending an e-blast tomorrow again. And basically, this is a program that's run through the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce. It gives a $500 incentive to unemployed workers and a wage subsidy to employees. It's new, and you should go to the website and check it out, or tomorrow we'll be sending another e-blast about it. And so that's another strategy that you can keep in the back of your mind while you're dealing with all these issues. With that, we are going to close the webinar. I want to thank you, Mev. You did a great job, and you answered a lot of questions, and I hope everyone learned a lot and has a great day. Thanks all for coming.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.